Sure. So democracy, do you believe in who decides what ethical systems are in place in the government society? The people, right?
No, the Ministry of Truth, obviously.
If the people decided they all collectively gathered and fought against a certain type of government system, then guess what? It would be changed.
You are going on this moral relativism thing, and you have kind of failed to bring it back to the point of why is your monarchy better?
You still believe in killing animals, right?
Yeah, just not my cat. Just not cats.
But you agree with democracy, right? They voted for that.
I agree with managed democracy. You know, obviously, yes, there needs to be a democratic agreement of the society, but clearly the society can go AWOL. So we have a Ministry of Truth established to keep things from going AWOL.
Okay, functionality, but you still would have to agree with your democracy, and I gave you the hypothetical. You would have to agree with that democracy.
If I don't live in it, I don't have to agree with it.
Yeah,
my system, it works because my system is the one that united humanity into Super Earth and let us spread across the galaxy and kill the aliens and dominate the galaxy.
No fucking way.
The system is from a video game. He was arguing a system from a video game.
I was arguing a system from a video game.
Hello and welcome to Platinum Politics. I'm your host Mace, and today I have another fantastic debate for you. This debate was a bit of a troll debate. I am unfamiliar with Helldivers, but the one guy who is known as Support Your Local Helldiver decided to debate a political system that comes from the game Helldivers. Like I said, not familiar, but that doesn't make this debate any less fun. It is very funny. Support Your Local Helldiver is actually debating Atixx, who is a meme within the server a bit, because he kind of just comes into chat rooms and tries to get people to set up debates in modern day debate. But he's also not a really good guy. He's actually made fun of like some disabled people in our server, which I think has now lended him a ban. So yeah, we don't allow that here at Platinum Politics. But regardless of all that, this is a great debate. I hope you enjoy. Like, comment, and subscribe. And now it is time for today's impromptu debate.
Wait, hold on. Oh goodness. All right, cool. Hold on. Let me turn on my cam.
This man wasn't even fucking expecting it, I bet.
Oh no, not at all. No, we're gonna begin. Cool. And I'm having a few brewskis, so cheers to you. Sure. So democracy, do you believe in who decides what ethical systems are in place in the government society? The people, right?
No, the Ministry of Truth, obviously.
What does that mean? I'm sorry. You can
It's the
educate
Ministry
me.
of Truth. It's the part of the democracy whose job is to make sure that misinformation, treason, and things of that nature, and things that would be in opposition to the founding morals of the society cannot corrupt within.
True. That's called moral relativism in ethics, right? So what you're saying is, in a society, there's a group of people who decide what is moral or ethical. Do you think that's fair? You're using moral relativism.
No, it would be established ahead of time and then used with the Ministry of Truth's AI regulatory systems.
And that is still part of a society that comes to a collective and that agrees that something's immoral or moral.
At one point, but from that point on, they are establishing that will be permanent because it is being programmed and used within the Ministry of Truth. It cannot be changed.
Yeah, true. But again, at one time, a society comes as a collective to say, guess what? Premise A would be justified and premise B would be justified by a group that is qualified, that has established this rule of law.
Every society does that. Even a modern society does that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, dude. That's
okay.
If the second that the society decides they're sick and tired of the monarch, you get an uprising. So yes.
It would be more
complicated.
No, it would be an overthrow. So I agree with you. There's overthrows in government, right? With any type of society can decide to overthrow, even in this country or any country in the world. If the people decided they all collectively gathered and fought against a certain type of government system, then guess what? It would be changed. Every country can change anytime.
Kitty. Oh, hi, Kitty.
Okay.
Easy kitty.
Have you ever ate cat before?
No.
No, I know, but you still believe in killing animals, right?
Yeah, just not my cat. Just not cats.
Maybe dogs?
No.
Okay, maybe pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, pig is the culture. It's more relativism. It's okay in a certain society, right?
Okay, but what's your point?
My point is we can kill and eat dogs and cats depending on a moral society that
but
determines.
what's your point?
That do you agree it's okay?
You're going
Do you
on
agree
this
it's
moral.
okay?
You are going on this moral relativism thing, and you have kind of failed to bring it back to the point of why is your monarchy better?
Okay, cool. So I already proven that you agree with moral relativism, right?
I agree that to an extent. If we're going to talk about morality, I believe that morality is not relative, but I believe that cultures are going to disagree with on moralities. And so in that sense, I agree that there is such thing.
Yeah, so eating dogs and cats, would you say that is objective or subjective, morally wrong?
What's that have to do with your monarchy being better than my democracy?
Sure, because democracy and monarchy would be based off what? What is your foundation of democracy?
My foundation of democracy? My foundation of democracy, specifically, like I said, managed democracy, is this idea that there needs to be, obviously, yes, there needs to be a democratic agreement of the society, but clearly the society can go AWOL. So we have a ministry of truth established to keep things from going AWOL. There is established, agreed upon, yes, this must be enforced no matter what. And the ministry of truth's job is to make sure that it vets, it vets the people who run for office, it vets the laws that are put in place, and it keeps it all in check.
I understand that, but do you realize democracy is one of the newest government systems? That's one of the newest.
No, it's not. It predates your current understanding of monarchy.
Monarchy has existed longer than democracy.
Your current understanding of monarchy is very different from, like, for example, ancient Egyptian, of monarchy. Yeah. So your current understanding of monarchy is completely different from, for example, the ancient Egyptian version of monarchy. The current understanding of monarchy is predated by republics and democracies.
Okay, can you give a few examples of what democracy existed before monarchy?
Athens.
Athens was a democracy?
Yeah.
Athens, what? Like from what years? And hold on.
Greece.
We're
talking about like before and during the age of the Roman Empire. It was a democracy. And then the Roman Republic, that's an example of a republic before your monarchies, and a lot of people will make the argument that a republic is a form of a democratic system as well.
Not necessarily. Like, so Caesar was a monarchist.
Was the Roman Republic a thing? Yes or no?
No, it wasn't. So, like,
yes, it was. It is no. Historically, yes, the Roman Republic was a thing. It became the Roman Empire at one point, but it started as the Roman Republic. It was a republic system, and a lot of people, especially on the monarchist side of things, will try to make the argument that a republic is a form of a democratic system. So yes, that is a thing.
Wait, hold on.
Predates monarchy. That is a form of a democratic system.
Okay,
democracy. So some people's standards.
Okay, some people, but like what so are you holding democracy and a republic to go hand in hand?
They come from similar ideals that lead to them. I mean, I'm still arguing on behalf of a managed democracy.
Yeah.
So that's a little different.
What society was considered a managed democracy?
Here's a better one. You got the current Russian system. You got the current Russian Federation.
No, I'm talking about the first one, or the historical. Let me pop open my beer real quick. Hold on.
So I have a better question for you. Why does the age matter? Why does the age matter?
Yeah. So so democracy, what we understand it today, is one of the newest forms of government. So even in, like, would you're saying republic, democracy, or a democracy, right? It's still
the way that we understand a democracy is not newer than monarchy. But you haven't answered my question. Why is it that monarchy being older somehow makes it better? Why does the age of a system?
No. So I didn't say it's better, but I'm just in historical context. It is the most strongest foundation to exist within humankind.
It also is also got the reputation of doing a really good job of holding corruption in power, because it'll take several generations for corruption to be removed. Versus a system like a democracy, which you can remove that corruption very quickly. And in a managed democracy, again, you have your ministry of truth, which makes it even harder for the corruption to get into place.
I agree. So I agree. I think that's a valid argument against, like, monarchy when there's a corrupt monarchist, monarchs, right? But if a monarch is following a guidelines, let's say from a Catholic church, he's still going to hold to values and ethics that he's bounded by. So a
The
bad monarch.
majority of monarchs followed a system like that, and it didn't stop corruption from taking hold. I'd also like to point
Yes,
out that the Catholic
yes.
Church was also heavily corrupt.
Well, there's been corruption within every single church, like Protestantism, and like a lot of different branches, right? But again, monarchy would still hold to certain values and ethical foundations. For example, in Christian, like in a Catholic church, right? You have to give to the needy. You have to do this.
Then why was the Magna
you're
Carta
obligated.
a necessity? Why did the Magna Carta need to happen then?
Yeah, no, the Magna Carta didn't need to happen, but the Magna Carta still happened, right? Like, but again,
Well,
like
it did need to happen because they had problems with the monarch breaking the law and doing whatever he wanted, and that was a thing a monarch could do. So the Magna Carta did need to happen. So, but by your logic, why did the Magna Carta?
No, not at all. Like, for example, like when a Catholic pope, a bishop, or a cardinal does something wrong, he's held to a standard, even the pope himself. So, like, when someone does something wrong or unethical based off Catholic dogma or theology, they're still held to that standard. Like
the most recent pope before the one that is currently sitting in power was extremely woke, and the Catholic
I
Church
agree.
didn't do anything about it.
I agree. So I am a traditionalist.
There is also
I agree.
problems of, for example, you had one pope back in the day, I forget the names, but there was one pope who outlawed crossbows, and that was, more than just a law.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
religiously. And then the one guy,
Yes.
another pope after him, undid it, which is a problem because the pope is supposed to be the vicar of Christ, which
No,
means
no,
Christ
no,
is
no.
contradicting
So-
himself in this instance. You also have
Not
the
at
one
all.
pope who died, and
Yeah.
the guy who got into power right after him immediately had
Yes.
that previous pope,
Yes.
acquired a problem because of pettiness. So what you're
Yeah.
talking about doesn't work.
No, it does, because do you understand the Pope? So popes can do a lot of evil, right? They have done evil. I agree with you. And as a Catholic, we can go into what is difference from dogma and theology and ex cathedra. So when a pope does something very wrong, right? We can say it's very wrong because it goes against the church itself. So like when a pope does something very evil, like sell indulgences, that's why the Protestant Reformation happened with Martin Luther and Calvinism. But before we get into that,
let's bring this back though, because
yeah,
the arguments that you've laid out so far is monarchy is an old traditionalist system, and that's why you think it's good.
no, not at all. But I was just saying that monarchy would still have a strong foundation based off how long it lasted.
That doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it's not even providing strength of the nation. It's only providing strength and stability to the noble families of the monarchy.
Not at all.
The nation can, and oftentimes throughout history has suffered at the expense of monarchy stability.
I agree.
It doesn't. So if your argument is just that, we've had it for so long that that's
not my argument.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
That's not my argument. My argument would be Christian normative ethics, and would be specifically Christian. But I would even compromise and say Christian. Let's say there's a Christian monarch who is a Lutheran, right? Let's say a Protestant I would still favor that over a democracy.
So let me again try to steelman your argument. You are saying that you believe a monarchy would be a good system because because it has historically been stable and to some level able to and has to some level been able to maintain a consistent moral structure.
No, not based off history.
What are you saying?
Sure. So a Christian normative ethics, right? Like this was I don't know if you're familiar with Andrew Wilson.
Okay,
right?
I want you to try. I am familiar with Andrew Wilson, and he has made a lot of really stupid points, in my opinion. But that's beside the point. I want you to simplify and summarize your point in one statement.
Sure. A Christian normative ethics would be implied in a Christian monarch, and a Christian monarch would apply Christian virtue ethics to a society, meaning a society couldn't do a lot of things that they're allowed today that we see in different states and federally. For example, transgenderism, homosexuality, abortion, let's say divorce, things, let's say things like that, I think would be better off in a society.
You're kind of going off on a tangent. I want you to summarize in one statement why you think
I literally
monarchy
just
is
did.
I want you to summarize in one statement why you think monarchy is superior, not why you think Christian normative is superior. Because okay, we can apply that with just about any
Wait,
government
I
system.
just told you a Christian monarch. That's the same as
I
a
want
monarchy.
you to, okay, I want you to tell me why you think a monarchist government system is superior, not why you think Christian normative.
I never. No, I gave a
You're
specific
jumping all
context.
over. You're saying
I
something
gave
and
a.
saying
Hold
you're
on.
not
I
saying
gave
that.
a Christian monarch. Is that clear or not?
That's not what I'm asking, though. That's not answering my question.
It is answering your question. I literally gave a
My
statement. Everyone, hold on. Everyone, listen closely. He's asking me. Why would a monarchy? And I didn't say a monarchy. I gave him a specific context. A Christian monarch. That's why I would say it's better. I don't have to just say a monarchy, because guess what? A monarchy can be.
We are coming at this with the understanding that you want a Christian monarch. But with
Yes.
that said, why do you think a monarchist government system is better than a democratic
I just gave you
one?
examples. I gave you examples.
I didn't ask for examples. I asked you to summarize your point and your view in one statement.
Sure. So one more time, everyone listen closely. I gave him the claim that a Christian monarchy would be better for society because you can simplify it as being more ethical and more moral of a society. And I listed, he didn't want demonstrations, and that's okay. But I gave him demonstrations to know exactly what I meant.
The United States Constitution is built around Christian moral structures, and it was able to hold them in power for at least 150 years.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's fine. But what do we see in society
if
today?
If your argument is
No, hold
that
on.
I know what we see in society today, and that's because
Why is it allowed?
Because the Christian structure of the U.S. is attacked. But I would like to point out that Britain, which is also technically a monarchy still, has an even bigger problem with these things than the United States.
Yes, I agree. But why?
So monarchy doesn't even preserve that. It doesn't preserve that.
Because democracy. That's why. You know why? Because people voted for different laws and different presidents to be in a society.
And why didn't the monarch step in? The monarchy
I agree.
Still has the authority.
They failed.
Not only did they fail, the current monarch is a globalist. So clearly monarchy isn't the answer to your problem.
No, not at all. It's okay. One more time.
No, it's my turn now. My turn. The
Who do we vote for?
The problem with what you're suggesting is that a monarchy is also susceptible to the same types of corruption. Not only that, but when the corruption gets into place, it stays longer. The U.S. is on the path of fixing itself, while Britain is looking at a potential race war.
Okay, hold on. So I think you and I could agree on certain aspects, right? So, like for example, the when gay marriage was a thing to vote for, right? Remember, it was voted. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm from California. Back in 07, 08, it was voted against by the people. The people voted against this in California, mind you. Supreme Court overturned that and said, "Nuh-uh, sorry, the people don't matter. Gays have a right to be married," right? Because
that's in direct opposition to your point, though, because you're giving me an example of a system. You're giving me an example of where a government is being not bound by a vote, is allowing this stuff in.
Well, true. But again, and within this democracy, there's different levels, right? So, like, this is where it goes.
But again, you're trying to specifically argue this against a managed democracy, not just a democracy.
Okay, I feel, correct me if I'm wrong. Does everyone's vote matter? I don't think so necessarily. I don't.
Let me walk you through how a managed democracy would work.
Okay, go ahead.
So a managed democracy, you would have something similar to a Senate. You would have your president, obviously, and then you'd have a series of different ministries.
Okay.
Specifically, the one that is important here is going to be your Ministry of Truth. The Ministry of Truth is the one whose job is to maintain the founding morals of the democracy, whatever they may be, and to ensure that they are not removed or pushed against. In this instance, it's going to be things like the rights to bear arms, capitalism, freedom to own property, things like that. The Ministry of Truth uses an AI algorithm that is programmed with these morals in place. Its job is to vet anybody who is elected or appointed to a position of power to make sure that they align with the morals of the democracy. Now, when it comes to voting, the way it would work is, you go to your voting booth. Instead of just saying, oh, I want Ted Bundy or whatever, whoever's running, the AI system will ask you a series of questions on your views, and according to what the AI has vetted, what's allowed, it will tell you, all right, this is the best candidate for you to vote for, and there you go. Therefore, ensuring that the founding morals cannot be removed, and ensuring that the only people who are allowed in power share those morals.
Okay, but again, this is where we go back to ethics and morals, right? In a society, when you just give an argument for moral relativism, right?
I didn't give an argument for moral relativism.
Yes, you did. Okay, who decided?
I did not give an argument for moral relativism because let me put it to you like this: you're trying to argue morals in a debate about political systems. Yes, we both probably agree on morals. We probably both agree on the moral sets, but that's kind of irrelevant because we're talking about the government systems that'll be enforcing them.
Yes, okay,
not the morals themselves. Not the morals themselves.
No, morals and ethics are always going to be implemented.
We can both agree that in this instance, it's probably going to be the same moral ethics that are being enforced.
No, not at all. Like, let me give you an example.
Okay. Your failure.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Your failure to see a hypothetical.
It's not
really
a failure at all. I love hypotheticals.
I'm giving you a hypothetical, and you keep wanting to drop back. But my Christian morals.
No, not at all.
We're not talking about the Christian morals. We're not talking about the Christian morals. We're talking about the government. We're talking about the government system enforcing them. Talk about the government system, not the Christian morals. We're not talking about the Christian morals.
Okay, cool. Forget Christian morals, right? I'm going to use your own logic. A country decides, let's say, you can marry 13-year-old girls. A country decides this, and their rule bearer, what was it? The rule what?
You have your Ministry of Truth, you have your Senate-style organization, and then you have
the Ministry
your
of Truth. The Ministry of Truth, right? Could it vary every culture and change every society?
Just like every dude. Monarchies have had different moral structures.
Forget that. My point is this: is that what you're saying is that the bearer of the rule, whatever, can change in different societies. And
what do you? Okay, so the bearer of the rules can change. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure, as a society, as you agree with me, right? Let's say, in this hypothetical. You agree that other cultures change, like Saudi Arabia, right?
Are you meaning that other cultures will have different morals that they abide by?
Yeah, there's a rule giver. True. There's a rule giver or let's say a rule. I'm sorry, I don't want to misinterpret you, but the rule.
The Ministry of Truth.
There you go. The Ministry of Truth says you can marry in this country. So he would make the same exact argument as you are.
Okay.
You know that, right?
That has nothing to do with the government system.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. That is a moral argument, not a political argument. I am talking about the government system enforcing the morals. I get it.
Yes.
That governments are enforcing morals. We understand that. We are not talking about the morals. We are talking about the government system.
Okay, one more time. The government system in Saudi Arabia says you can marry.
This is beside the point. Your whole thing is beside the point. You're trying to argue why the monarchist government system would be better than my managed democracy government system.
And I just gave you an example.
You have not.
I just given you an example.
You have not. You have given me an example of morality. I'm not asking for that.
You guys.
I want to know why the government structure, why the political structure of the concept of a monarchy would be better than the government and political structure of a managed democracy.
I'll run it through one more time so everyone listen closely.
If you cannot do this without morals, it means you're not understanding.
You have to off.
Let them speak.
Stop cutting each other off, please.
All right, so I'm going to demonstrate this one more time. You're given a political system that the rule bearer is, let's say, in another country that says you can marry right? And this political system, this is what they decide. In this political system in a different country, okay, your logic still applies with this other country's rule bearer or rule observer in a democracy in a political system. And I get you can make the
Helldiver, check
argument
your
against.
DM.
All right,
Yeah.
hold on.
You can carry on, by the way.
Hold on. Say that again, August.
Check your DM. Also,
I saw you're wanting me to bring this up.
Yeah, but when it's appropriate, I'm gonna type something else.
All right.
Also,
Okay. So again, I understand where you're coming from. You are talking from the moral standpoint. The problem is you are failing to make an argument for the government system. Because guess what? A monarchy and many monarchies have enforced systems like that. If you look at, for example, things like the Ottoman Empire, which was a Muslim monarchy.
I agree. Yes,
so
I agree.
the morals. Ignore the morals. Argue the political structure. Argue the political structure. I can ignore the morals because I'm not talking about the morals of an existing society. I am talking about
it doesn't
structure.
have to. Okay, so
why would a monarchical political structure be better than a managed democratic political structure? You can and you should make that argument without the morals of the society.
Do you realize you can't ignore morality in a political system?
In this situation, I very much can, because it's a political.
No, you can't.
Mind you, multiple different societies with multiple different moral structures have deployed similar political structures.
Yes, that's
so for
example,
example, the Roman Republic was a pagan republic that employed a republic system, while the United States is by origin a Christian society that not only employed a republic.
When was this?
But modeled its republic after the Roman Republic. Like they used the design of the Roman Republic to build the American Republic.
So
I can very much argue a political structure without the morals.
Okay. If you're gonna if you tell someone they're wrong or right, is that morality?
That's talking from fact.
Is that morality?
No, it's talking from fact. Morality.
You guys,
from saying right and wrong.
Everyone Google this.
Like saying
morality,
correct or
right and wrong. Is morality. You're talking.
If you are talking from a moral standpoint,
am I wrong?
Hold on. If you're saying 2 + 2 is 5, and I say you're wrong, is that suddenly a moral statement?
No, but we're talking about morality.
Okay,
right?
so saying somebody is right or wrong is not by default moral.
Yeah, but what subjective standard? Factual based off what?
Based off of, in that instance, math.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay.
Math is not morals.
I agree. Okay. What about someone?
Morality, and that's law. But here's
forget morality. Hold on.
Let August speak. August wants to say something.
The conversation was wait, if I can, please.
Yeah.
Respect.
Go ahead.
The conversation was not about morality. You seem to be a moral absolutist, but the conversation was about the constitution the constitution of a society and its system of government. What institutions should a Christian monarchy employ? What should be the structure of the government? Because you can't enforce morality if you don't have a structure of government.
This is why I was saying that you can argue government structures without bringing morality into the mix. Because you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I'm gonna finish with this. If you're telling a society that they're wrong to do A, B, and C, or A and B, you're saying that your moral ethical framework is gonna determine what is wrong.
About that, we're talking about the system that the society uses to say right and wrong. Not the morals, not what is agreed to be right and wrong. We're talking about the system of how they do it. We're talking about the system that is you can talk about that without talking about what the morals are, because lo and behold, government systems have been employed by multiple different moral sets. So you can that by default shows that there is a separation of the two, and you can talk about one without the other.
It's subjective.
You can talk. No, it means you can talk about one without the other. You are so hell bent on the morals that you're failing to see that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so stop talking about the morals. We're not talking about morals. This is not a debate about morality. This is a debate about government and politics. This is not a debate about morality.
Okay, cool. So I want to make it very clear. If you tell me my government system is wrong, what is that based off?
In my
What?
case, history and the fact that monarchies have not actually been the greatest government system because of how they function.
Okay. Okay, cool. So greatest is what measurement? What determines great?
Success, I assume, and running
Hold on.
the civilization.
Okay, you mean great. I heard great, and I thought like a cheese grater for a second.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no,
okay,
no. It's
I'm not talking about greatness. I'm talking about functionality. Monarchy has functionally not been a good system. That is why it was
okay.
largely abandoned.
What determines good though? A good system. What determines a good system?
Whether or not it worked.
Work based
that's
off
the
what
problem.
qualifier?
In this instance, it would be what the government did to enforce the systems it was supposed to enforce and how it did it. In the case of monarchy, it had
And
a
how it
very,
did it.
very
Okay.
bad habit of devolving into being a
Okay.
self-centered system that was there to benefit the monarchs.
Okay.
That is why it ended up
Okay.
being abandoned after World War I.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let me give you a hypothetical. What you said in a system. What was the last part? You said a system that.
I said a system. I said I am basing a system, and whether it's good or bad, based off of how it functioned and how successful it was at maintaining and enforcing the order and morality. Yes, I am saying morality that it was
Oh
supposed
my
to
gosh.
implement.
Okay.
But
Okay.
here's the thing: I'm not determining that based on the morals of the society. Because if
Okay,
I go
cool.
to a Muslim society,
yeah.
they're going to say that
I know.
their moral system. They're going to say that their system works great. I'm talking
I
purely
know. I
from
know.
functionality throughout history.
So
Monarchies
why'd you?
had a
Okay.
bad habit of
Okay. Okay.
devolving
Cool.
into
Okay.
a mixture of being self-centered towards the monarchist families
Okay.
and starting wars over just pure
Yes.
family feuds.
Okay. Yeah. True. Okay.
That's not
Okay,
a
cool.
functioning system.
So-
that is actively putting the country at large at risk in
Okay.
favor of a small
I'm gonna-
ruling class.
And
I'm gonna give
if
you
I'm-
two. I'm gonna give you
Sorry,
two
go ahead.
hypotheticals, and let me know. Right? Let me know what you think about this. A monarchist says all black people must slave away to help the economy thrive, right? A monarchist says this. And the country's thriving with this slavery, right? The majority of the people in a democracy vote for slavery. And they both have the equal economic growth. They both have majority of people thriving in this country. So does it matter at all, or would you agree that is a something? Forget morality. Forget if it's bad or good. But the economy proves, and data and statistics prove, this economy is growing from a monarchist and a democracy. Like, how would you judge that?
How would I judge that? Well, that's not the only aspect I judge it by. That's just judging a policy that both happen to employ.
Okay,
if
cool.
you're going to
But
look
forget
at
morality.
success, I'm not talking morality. I am talking
All right, cool,
purely.
cool.
I'm talking purely from the government systems. Okay, so they both employed the same system.
No. There's two different systems.
Yes, no, they have employed slavery. They've employed the system of slavery, and it has benefited both their economy. So what they've done is they've just both employed the same system. All that proves is that in your hypothetical, the system of slavery is a beneficial system.
The system is democracy and monarchy, and they both voted.
This is a system. This is a system. This is a system. You are talking about two governments that have employed a single system under their rule.
Based off what?
I'm not going to judge them based off of just one system, because this is only one thing that they have both just so happened to employ. All that your hypothetical proves is that in this instance, slavery works. I'm not going to judge whether or not a monarchy or a democracy or a managed democracy is better based off of one policy they happen to share. Because they happen to share a policy. Guess what? The old British,
there's no policy.
The old British monarchy back in the medieval era had a law in place where you had to own own a weapon, and meanwhile the U.S. Constitution defends the right to bear weapons. It worked in both instances.
So
that's what you're telling me.
Sure, you can give an answer. So the monarchists allow slavery. They said you got to own, let's say, 1,000 blacks who does slave work, right? The monarchists. The democracy votes for slavery. So there's two different political systems, right? You agree?
There's two different government systems that are employing a economic system, because a government is made up of multiple systems.
No, not the monarchist is not.
Yes, even a monarchy employs multiple systems.
Okay.
Every government is collective of
okay,
systems.
I mean that's fine. That's fine. So the monarchist, democracy, one votes for slavery, only one person decides slavery. The society is growing, right?
Again, again. This is a single policy that both have
Okay,
just
but
happened to
is
employ
that
within their
okay?
own. This again.
Is that okay?
You are bringing up a situation where each government system has employed
Yes.
its own economic system, and it just so happened to work for both. This thing that you're giving me here, this hypothetical, doesn't
Mhm.
actually give any grounds to judge the two governments by. It just gives me a ground to judge by whether or not slavery in this hypothetical works. And so far, you're saying that in this hypothetical, slavery works. That's the only thing you can deduce from that
Yeah,
hypothetical.
but you agree with democracy, right? They voted for that.
I agree with
And-
managed democracy.
Okay,
You're
and
supposed
managed
to be arguing against managed
No.
democracy.
No, and managed democracy is in the democracy, the one who's democracy,
Again,
one who
you're not giving me anything to actually
guys-
deduce out of this outside
you
of
guys-
just
you
in your
guys-
hypothetical slavery
Yeah.
works. You haven't given me
Yeah.
again. This is what I'm saying. I'm not
Sure,
going to judge
sure.
a government system by one policy that it institutes.
Okay,
Because,
sure,
lo and
sure.
behold, two different government systems can both employ the same policy. I'm going to look
Yes.
at their policy collective overall.
Oh,
all the policies,
okay.
all the things that they do, and
Yes.
their core functionality. I agree with
Okay,
managed
cool.
democracy because I believe
Yes.
in the grand scheme of things, it has a
Okay.
better chance of preserving the rights of the individual, preserving
Oh
the
my
morals
gosh.
and integrity of the structure,
Wait, you just said something
and
about
giving
morals.
and giving a way. No, I
You
said
just
that you
said
can
something about
argue.
morals.
I said you can argue a government system without having to establish a specific moral set.
Okay, why?
Whatever
did you
the
mention
moral set
morals?
is here, because
Who
morals do
cares?
play a role into a
Oh
society,
my-
but I can
yes.
argue a government
Yes.
system without the
Okay.
morals because whatever the morals are, I
Okay, cool.
expect the government to enforce it. I don't care what the morals are. I'm arguing government systems.
That's
So
a
whatever the
contradiction.
morals,
That's
no,
a
it's not.
contradiction.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
no,
is.
it's not. How is
You
that
know,
a
okay,
contradiction?
okay,
How is it a
sure.
contradiction to say I can argue whether or not a government system is good at enforcing morals in general?
You guys,
But
okay,
I
want-
can't argue it without going into whatever specific morals. I don't care. I just care about
Okay.
whether or not the system can enforce morals in general. I believe a
Okay,
managed
one more
democracy
time.
can enforce whatever morals the society chooses, that it
Who-
can preserve the rights of the people under it, and it
What
can
do you mean,
better keep
dude?
corruption out, thus making the system more
Okay.
stable. While a monarchy, I don't like, because a monarchy props a person or a family up to
Okay.
this extreme level
Okay, cool.
and basically puts them at the top
Okay.
of everything, and it's only a matter of time before
All right,
absolute
dude.
power corrupts and they become selfish and they only gain about
Yeah,
care about
okay,
their own
cool.
personal gain, and they
Yeah.
start to sacrifice the
Yeah, I
society
mean, I think
in favor. And the
yes,
only way
no,
and the only ways to remove
Mhm.
that corruption is either to hope that a
Yeah.
monarch will eventually come along from
Yeah,
that
yeah.
family line who
Yeah, yeah.
actually does care about the society and not his own personal
Yeah.
game, or a civil war.
Yeah, true. And the same
Any
logic,
system, any system,
and the same
that
logic
is
goes with
either
democracy. The same logic goes with democracy because the
a managed democracy has a better chance of keeping that corruption
I
out,
didn't
and a
ask-
better
I didn't-
chance of removing that corruption when it gets into place.
Hold on,
A
hold on.
managed
You
democracy
just
can
changed your whole
remove
argument.
No, I
You
didn't.
just changed
because
your whole argument.
I
A better
didn't. I
chance?
did not.
A better
Yes,
chance?
Yes, a better chance. It can
That
have.
changes everything.
No, it doesn't. Because
Oh
here's
my
the
gosh.
thing: within a monarchy,
Okay.
you have to
Yes.
wait several generations or wait for
All
a
right,
bloody
that's
war.
fair. That's
in
fair.
a managed democracy, it can happen within 4 years.
I know.
Without
I know.
without a single bullet shot and with minimum problems, that person and their policies can be removed within like a year, 4 years. It can happen within one person's lifetime.
Or-
it could happen
or
within
here-
days. It could happen within
Dude, it could.
days.
It could. But or someone votes for someone with the same ideology for
But
20,
that's
30 years.
Okay, so
I mean, the same
yeah,
logic.
okay, yeah. So so you
Yeah.
have. So I think that a managed democracy does a better job at making sure corruption
Cool. That's
doesn't
fine.
get in. So what about, it's the same ideology? I don't believe that
It's the
ideology
what's
should change
better-
on a whim.
Okay, if someone voted for, let's say, a president, right, every 4 years, who believed in something very wrong or immoral, right, for 20 years, we're going to have this same political leader for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Is that correct?
No, term limits are a thing.
But after 4 years, someone has the same beliefs and same political systems, and all they're going to do is continue it.
No, because if there are things that actually do need to be addressed, they can be addressed as long as they fall under the structure established by the Ministry of Truth.
The Ministry of Truth, one more time, works.
It's the same as a
again.
constitution. It's the same as a constitution. In the Constitutional
Okay,
Republic
but
of the
again,
United States, we
dude,
can vote in different policies that
Okay,
might
hold on.
change over time, but as long as
Okay,
they don't
you
break
guys-
the Constitution, they're acceptable.
Okay,
It's the same
okay.
thing.
Yeah, and the Constitution in another country allows to marry.
I don't care about another country. What's that have to do with this?
Because again,
Marrying is not a part of a
You're-
constitution inherently.
no, but again,
it's not.
it could be. It actually could be,
Okay,
right?
okay, you keep falling back to but the morals. Okay, I'm not talking about the morals. I'm talking
Then
about
why did you-
what is
you
the
mentioned
government
morals.
system. I mentioned that it needs to be able to uphold whatever the morals of a society are.
That's a
Not the mor-
contradiction.
No, it's not. No, it's
Don't
not.
mention morals.
You're trying to argue a specific moral system. I'm just
Hey.
saying it just needs to be able to enforce whatever moral system it's
Okay.
executed to
Okay,
enforce.
so maybe I can run this through you one more time. Maybe let everyone listen closely. I could be too drunk, right? So like there's a monarchist who says slavery's acceptable, a monarchy, right? Forget the country, but there's a monarchist who says slavery's okay, the country's thriving off slavery. Let's just give this hypothetical. And then a democracy, people vote for slavery, and in this democracy they have the observers of truth. And the
Ministry of Truth.
the Ministry of Truth says it follows our Constitution. The people voted on it, but we're going to continue slavery. Would that be acceptable?
So they both voted. So they both employed slavery. One voted to employ slavery. The other just had a dude decide it. Again, the problem is you are trying to make me judge two systems based on one common policy that they have both employed just through different.
All
that gives me is a reason to judge whether or not slavery works.
Okay, cool. But it wouldn't just all that gives you, because you would agree that this democracy voted for that. You agree with democracy, and you would agree with the Constitution of the, I'm sorry, I keep fucking this up, the rule giver.
The Ministry of Truth.
There you go, a Ministry of Truth, right? The Ministry of Truth agrees with this, and the people voted for this. This is your political system you agree with, right?
That doesn't mean I agree with any policies that any one version of it employs.
Okay, but this is your government system who, let's say, allows this.
So you're failing to argue the government system itself. You are trying to bring in these random morals. Again, I am not arguing the morals that it employs. I'm arguing the system of functionality itself.
Fuck it, functionality, but you still would have to agree with your democracy, and I gave you the hypothetical. You would have to agree with that democracy.
If I don't live in it, I don't have to agree with it.
I'm seeing a miscommunication here. It seems that Helldiver is speaking about the practicality of a system, and you're speaking about the moral applications of a system, which are both relevant and perfect if you want to get a balance of a operating system that everybody loves. But you two are arguing on two different fronts that should be relevant to each other. But
I've been trying to say that same thing. I've been trying to say that same thing.
I do got to get going, but support. Thank you for having this conversation.
Hold on, before you go, I have one.
I'll send you a DM. We'll schedule something. Yeah,
my system. It works because my system is the one that united humanity into Super Earth and let us spread across the galaxy and kill the aliens and dominate the galaxy.
The system is from a video game. He was arguing a system from a video game.
I was arguing a system from a video game.
The jig is out, guys.
tried to debate a system from a video game.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty
Super
good.
Earth, boys.
You know what? It was pretty interesting.
Truth sounded oddly fictional.
I think it should have been brought up that they were talking about a system from a video game before they started.
That was a troll. That was freaking peak, man. Like, good job.
That was good.
Good job, man. Give him a round of applause for that. Give him a round of applause for that. That was genius.
Hold on.
I was so confused. I was like, what is this little man talking about?
I'm talking about Super Earth.
I'm
talking about the ultimate system. I'm talking about the greatest government in human history, baby.
Hey, that was good. That was good. I mean, I'll be honest.
I've been wanting to do that one for a while. Me and Mystic were talking about finding somebody who didn't know anything about Helldivers and getting them to try to debate against managed democracy.
I'll be honest. I was just thinking democracy, but you're pretty good at trolling. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Hold on. But again, I think you had a problem. I think you had a problem when philosophy came up with ethics because you were contradicting to say, wait, hold on. I do have you. Hold on. I have you recorded when you said. Hold on, you guys. I have him recorded. I'll post it up on YouTube when he says, "I'm not talking about morality," but then he mentioned morality in the next sentence.
Okay, let me clarify this, and let's see if everybody else agrees that this is a contradiction. My point is that a government needs to be able to enforce the moralities of whatever society employs it, but you can argue if that government is a good government without getting into what the specific morals are. Okay, does that sound like is that a contradiction?
Sure, because what do you mean by?
Well, I want to hear what the others have to say.
You guys, no. Yeah. Hold on, you guys. This is going to be an interesting post because I like him. But everyone following.
You're pretty cool too.
So
I like
when you say good, what do you mean by that? Is that a moral claim?
No, I'm talking purely from functionality.
But everyone Google this. Is the word good? Is the word good moral? Everyone just look that up, please. I can be all wrong.
It's an adjective.
The word good is an adjective. It depends on the subject. What is morally good? There's something that can be morally good, and there can be something that can be functionally good. Mm-hmm. What he was doing was arguing from the term from what was functionally good. You're arguing from morality. You seem like a moral absolutist. So
not at all.
I'd like to point out too that if I were to actually argue like a government in a society that I would want to see implemented, I would argue in part for morality. But if I'm going to talk about different government systems like this, I'm going to ignore morality in favor of pure functionality. Because at the end of the day, because here's the thing. There have been monarchies throughout history that have implemented Christian moralities that did a really good job, but at the same time, the U.S. also employed Christian morality and did a really good job on it. So that's not really, that's more of a, is the moral structure good? That's more if the moral structure is good, not so much if the government is good. When I'm talking about if the government's good, I just mean the government itself.
All right, cool. Everyone following. So in functionality, like, I get the logic that you're so I'll tag you when I post this. But do
you mind setting me the recording for my channel too?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. So next month.
That's awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome.
I hope you enjoyed that debate, or if you even want to call it a debate. Like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to join the server, link down in the description, if you want to join in on a debate yourself. But otherwise, that's all I have for you today. Goodbye.